All right, here we go with the Week 3 edition of Between the Horns, presented by your Southern California Toyota dealers. I'm JB Long with DeMarco Farr and Maurice Jones-Drew. It rained today in Los Angeles. Don't know what to make of that, but looking forward to figuring out what we make of this matchup. A divisional round rematch with the Eagles, a pair of undefeated teams. What's up, guys?
Hey, man. Happy. Yes, Tony was dead wrong. It does rain in Southern California.
It does rain every now and then. I feel like, as I was pulling in to the facility, it was a little humid outside. So maybe it's just getting us prepared for humidity in Philadelphia.
The happy reminded me, happy birthday, Kevin Dotson.
Happy birthday,
yeah.
K-Dot. Yes.
You get to clash with Jalen Carter to celebrate.
Absolutely. What a birthday present. Yes, you get one of the biggest bears in the league right in front of you.
He just went against one last week. That's not like it gets any easier, right?
This is true, yes.
What else is going on?
Nothing. Just getting ready for Philly, man. I'm geeked. We follow the same ethos, right? If you beat me in a fight, you're going to have to fight me every single day.
No question.
I am so glad this team gets to go back to Philly, where it ended last season, where you get to pick up right where you left off. And let's see. It's not snowing. It's not at night. It's different. We get to roll over, have some eggs, and go play football. I cannot wait for this matchup in Philly.
Yeah, I think you obviously want to go in as healthy as possible, right? So you're going to go in a little banged up, but at the end of the day, I think learning a lot from what we saw last week against the Titans about the Rams, I'm excited, but yet interested to see how they're going to play against Philly and in that atmosphere, right? You've already been there in the playoff atmosphere. You know those Philly fans are going to be ready to go. Philadelphia's already played two tough games, one against the Cowboys, one against the Chiefs, so they're battle tested. But this is a great early opponent to kind of see where you are. Now, I will say this. I was on the flight today coming down this morning and ran into a couple Niner fans, some of their radio people, and they're like, oh, man, we're so happy. We have the easiest schedule. Look, you guys got to go play Philly this week, and we got to play the Saints last week. And I was like, you're happy about playing weak people. No disrespect to the Saints, because the Saints are doing an awesome job of battling back. But I don't ever want to go into a season like not being able to test my off-season workout program.
No, I want final boss every weekend.
Yeah,
That's
please.
the way I look at it. Absolutely.
Why not? Like, why do I want something easy? Because then, I rather know that if we play the Eagles now, that we have a chance. Whoever we play later down the road, we're comfortable because we kind of already tangled a little bit. If you've never tangled with the Eagles, and you got to see them in Philly in the snow, and it's a different deal. So. To me, I'm excited. I think the Rams are excited, but I'm excited to see how they perform.
What level of the video game have the Rams been playing so far, with wins over Houston and Tennessee, winless each in their own right, albeit because they played the Rams, but how many conclusions are you willing to draw based on the strength of schedule to date?
You ever played Galaga? You're at the challenging stage. You know what I mean? You've gone through the first two levels, and now you're going up a notch. So this is going to be different. You should be excited. I think we're all excited for the same thing. I think we're seeing the same thing out in front. I think the offense is starting to get on track. Matthew Stafford is working himself into form. Devontae Adams is as good as advertised. And this defense, I can't say enough about how well they played against Cam Ward. If it wasn't for Cam Ward, if it wasn't for his athletic ability, that would have been a laugher. At some points, various points in that game, that defense was pitching an absolute shutout run and pass. They stopped the run. They earned the right to rush to the passer. They got into the backfield and made him move off his spot. So I think you're hitting your peak at the right time to be facing a final boss or a Philadelphia Eagles squad going there.
Yeah, I'll say this. I think Houston is a championship team, regardless if they lost or they're 0-2. I think if you look at all the 0-2 teams, they're the ones that scare me most of bouncing back and making a run out, even though their offensive line's a little shaky. They handled Tampa pretty well, right? They were getting after Tampa, and Tampa made some plays late in that game, but that's just kind of how it goes. With Tennessee, you took care of business. You beat Tennessee the way you were supposed to. But when
and
you
they
look
thought they had you too.
Right. But when you look at Philly, all the moves that we made this offseason was for them, period, point blank. Point it forward, guess what? Glad to have you. Here we go, right? Nate Landman, guess what? Glad to have you. Awesome job against Houston. Guess what? Here Saquon. You go. Here, meet Saquon, right? So it's a good opportunity to see. And again, I think the NFL is based off of each week. You have an opportunity to see where you are, right? It's you may win some games and not play well, which we've seen before, and that doesn't justify who you are. And then you may lose some games and play really well, but it just tells you where you are as the season goes along. And you made off-season moves to stop this particular team's running game. And to slow down what they do. We've seen that happen the last couple of weeks. can you be the third team to slow down this running game and what they're doing?
At least one other one that I think ties in directly, and that's Coleman Shelton.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not to overreact to one play at the end of your last game from last season,
The only play that mattered.
but there were some other ones along the way. I think it was an ongoing theme. But yeah, when you bust up front and you bring in a center to try and fix that, and you get to go test that in week 3, that's what this is to me. It's a measuring stick week. It's not the final answer. I'm curious what this game means to you and what you think it means to the Rams. But I think it's a September reality check. Are we one of the best teams in the NFC, or do we have some more work to do? Surely you have more work to do, but can we develop this roster further? Do we need to supplement this roster? This is a really informative data point for me. If you go in there and you pick up where you left off in January and you get over the top of Philadelphia, great. If you're lacking in some areas still, well, you have resources between now and November that if you can keep your head above water and your record where you want it to be, you can address those needs before you see Philadelphia or the equivalent team again.
Yeah, I agree. I think one, offensively, their offensive line going against this defensive line is going to be a big deal, even though they're missing $200 million guys that can rotate in. But more importantly, if your defensive line can hold up, right? I think again, you made adjustments to both your trenches to see if they can find a way to fit against this Philadelphia roster. And that's why I'm so excited about it, right? I think when you look at this game, and I know to our fans, wins and losses matter, but I'm looking more to, are these guys built and ready for what's to come, right? Like this game ahead of us is going to tell us where we are or where we need to be, right? Are we where we need to be now, or do we need to get better? Or is there how are we going to fix these type of things? And so I'm excited. Again, like you said, it's a measuring stick, and that's the best type of game you want, because at the end of the day, and DeMarco, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys lost to Tennessee when you won the Super
We
Bowl,
did.
right?
Yeah. Made us mad too.
But it was a measuring stick to see where you needed to be, right? Then you got a chance to get back to them, found a way to win. And so that's what makes this game so important.
Well, we were like, we can't play this bad again. That's how. And we want to see them. We want to see those guys again, and we did. But I would say this: you guys were on quarters systems in college or high school.
I was.
This is like you were. You weren't.
It's so long ago, I don't remember.
First semester.
I don't even remember what my college was.
Oh, well, this is like a final exam for the first quarter. It really is.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
This will set you up for the second quarter. It's not the end of the world, but if you get a good grade here, if you beat Philadelphia, you will be catapulted to the top of the NFC. Think about what that would do for this confidence, the confidence of this football team,
Right.
the confidence of the coaching staff, all the moves they made. Like you said, if it was subconsciously or consciously to get ahead of the Philadelphia Eagles and you go out there and you handle them, I mean, what scares you on the rest of the roster or rest of the schedule besides, the top of the AFC that you have to face down the road? If you get past Philadelphia, oh my God, the confidence boost will carry you for the next month and a half.
And the stakes are bigger. You're
Yes.
playing for a different prize. If you start 3-0 with a win at their place, all of a sudden you're in that conversation for contending for the NFC's number 1 overall seed. Like, this isn't the game that's going to dictate who wins the NFC, but it could play heavily into where those games are contested, right?
Yes.
It could
I know.
dictate whether or not
Hanging
you
with
have to go back.
That stuff
I
matters.
tell
It
people
absolutely
this all the
matters.
time.
Yeah.
I'd rather sleep in my bed than go sleep in a hotel.
Sure. But the winner of this game, I think, is on the short list with Green Bay for sure. And then what other contender you like? Tampa Bay? Are you buying
I
the
buy
Buck
Tampa.
story?
I think Tampa's always
The winner of Arizona, San Francisco this week. Like,
Yeah.
there's going to be some separation this Sunday.
Yes.
And let me just pivot for 2 seconds and talk about Tampa. Let's remember, Tampa's the only team that's handled the Eagles and Detroit for the last 2 or 3 years. Like, they're the only team that's consistently beaten them and made them not look good. And so that's always a scary thing when you have a team like that obviously the last couple of years, the top 2 teams haven't been able to beat. So they're another team that you have to put in there as well as a team that can find a way.
You also can't rehash last January, but there is some, I think, unfinished business. Maybe it's just between the fan bases and the narratives. Like, were the Rams really 13 yards away from hosting an NFC championship and winning a Super Bowl? That's making a lot of assumptions, right?
Right.
Or were they down 2 touchdowns again, using pretty much the same blueprint Philadelphia, and the only reason they were even allowed to come back is because of 2 Jake Elliott missed extra points, right? Like, I know what Philadelphia's argument and the Eagles fans in the mentions would say, and I know the reactions and the investments that the Rams made because they did play Philadelphia tougher than anyone else in the NFC last January.
And we all heard how quiet they got, and you got to make your field goals. That's one thing. I get you, but one you got to make them.
And Hurts was wounded, right? I mean, he got some good plays off, but I still don't understand that Kellen Moore game plan. Like, I still have. I went back and watched that game. I still don't understand what they were trying to do or why. Like, with the lead, why they were putting Hurts in harm's way.
I just, especially when you're breaking off 40 and 60-yard runs.
In the
right?
snow.
In the snow. Like, it didn't make any sense. But I will say this. I think, to me, stopping the run is way more important than seeing if Coleman Shelton can help the offensive line.
For sure.
And the reason being is Saquon had 4 rushes over 40 or 50 yards or whatever it was against the Rams last year.
He scored from his territory 4 times.
480.
You can't allow that, right? And I think that to me, if you want to be a championship team, if you look at the teams that went to the Super Bowl last year were led by their defense. If you want to win a Super Bowl, I know in 2021 our offense kind of did. You have to be led by your defense right now in this year of the NFL. Defense wins. The only reason Green Bay is up there is because of their defense. They got Micah Parsons. They're destroying people. Offensively, you can do whatever you want, but you can't. If you have a defense, it gives you the best chance to win in the playoffs and win the Super Bowl.
He's
so
come around.
He's
come
I'm
around.
just being honest.
See?
I'm being honest.
There you go.
Yes, but no. Do you think I can convince him what I tried to convince you of earlier
Go ahead.
this
Give
morning?
it a shot. Maybe. Go ahead. This will be good.
Saquon going 60+ is not what worries me this week. Yeah, yes, I think the Rams are better equipped on defense to make sure that he doesn't get out and that doesn't happen. But if we come home defeated this weekend, I want it to be because Hurts threw for 300+ and AJ caught a slant and got vertical and took it to the house, and they beat the Rams through the air. What I don't want is to die a death of 1,000 paper cuts. I don't want to get into 3rd and 2 and 4th and 1 over and over and over again.
Yes.
I think this offense of LA can score, can go toe-to-toe with this Philadelphia group. So if they're going to score it, make them be explosive to score it and get the ball back in your hands sooner rather than later.
I agree, but I'd rather you do, like you said, I'd rather put the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands than to give it to Saquon.
That's what he said.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why
exactly what he's saying.
I agree with that.
But he wants to go all out to stop Saquon, and I'm with him in certain respects and put this on to Jalen Hurts. If you have to die by the pass, then so be it.
I told DeMarco I want the Rams to play 1st and 10, like 4th and 1.
I like that mentality.
All Sunday.
Yeah, I
all
like
Sunday.
that mentality.
Load the box, mug every gap, show them looks that say throw it, throw it, throw it. And if they can, and I think they can, I respect Hurts. He's a good passer of the football, and their receiving core is awesome. But that's how I want to go down if the Rams go down.
My only concern is this, and it's his legs. You can't –
And their blitz pickup.
Right. Like, to me, he'll drop back the pass and probably think the pass for 2 seconds, and then he's looking to run. And so –
all right, but if you're coming after him with 7-8, and you
Making
got
a guy miss.
You just you just have to tackle him, right? And again, that's if I'm going to say the emphasis of this game is tackling. Tackle them, tackle them.
How encouraging was last week for you then?
It was awesome. I thought last week was good. I mean, there were some plays where Cam Ward got out. Cam Ward's a different player than Jalen Hurts, so he moves differently.
Kind
if
of
that
the
makes
same
sense.
thing, though. Yeah, beat you with his legs type. Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
quarterbacks jumping out the window. I think we're just going to have to get used to, because it's almost unfair. Like I know they're saying you should outlaw the tush push. For me, outlaw quarterbacks running, or if they do, they have to dribble first. That's not fair. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you go back and look at that Cowboys game, the Cowboys did an awesome job of stopping the run. Only thing they couldn't stop is when Hurts draws back the pass. They get in their rush lanes, and then there's a lane. He finds it, and he takes off.
Yes.
Right? And so you have to eliminate that. Now, Cowboys are rushing 4. Rams normally are rush 5. And they'll probably have a spy there. Hopefully, if that's what you would hope, that if you're watching their games, that's what you want to do in known passing situations. But I agree. Hurts has to be with his arm more than his leg.
Is there a way, DeMarco, to make Saquon Barkley a personal protector for Hurts, like a one-man blitz pickup, as opposed to someone who's catching screens and taking handoffs?
I think so. You have 2 choices. You're a running back, I mean, when they're sending the house and it's an all-out blitz, you either have to put your nose in there to help and block, or get out quick so he can dump the ball off to you. Either way, I think it benefits the Rams if Saquon is not taking direct handoffs. If he's taking handoffs, you got issues. If he's stepping up and having to pass protect or catch passes out of the backfield, now I think his effectiveness is kind of cut in half some. You know what I mean?
No,
So I think we're all saying the same thing. It just depends on how Chris Shula wants to get to it. I think lining up with 8 guys on the line of scrimmage and telling the world that you're coming Okay, if you have that sort of defense and you can get there, I don't think that's the type of guy you want to do this against. But if you mix in some blitzes and send guys, timely blitzes, delayed blitzes that befuddle them, absolutely. But the one problem is what you brought up. It's one thing to get a guy scot-free to him. It's another thing to get him on the ground. You know what I mean? And if you have an all-out blitz, and this is the one problem I have, if you're sending more people, you got to hold up on the outside versus those receivers. Easier said than done. You've got a giraffe on one side and a guy that can flat kill you on the other.
But they're not using those receivers yet. And I know they can. Right. I know they can, but there's shades of what opposing defenses did to the Rams back in the end of the Goff era, where it's like, we know what your best weapon is. When Gurley's really going, you're unstoppable. Mm-hmm. So we're going to do some things that force you to play left-handed. And if you can beat us that way, great. And you know what? If Brandon Cooks makes a play or Jared Goff makes a play, they do. But those are the circumstances that you have to, I think, dictate to Hurts and this offense, which right now is stagnating. And we've seen this movie before, right? Like, I know Philly's going to get right just because they have, Kevin Patullo calling plays for the first time and they haven't been able to throw the ball yet. I'm not saying they can't. They can and they will. But just let this not be that week.
I would say, I agree with you. I would just say, if we're going to put it in numbers terms, Saquon can't get over 22 carries. Let's say 22 is the number. If he gets over 22, then we have a problem.
How do you dictate that, though?
Score?
No, you dictate that by first and second down, right? Not allowing them to get – on first down, you have to get a 0 to minimal gain. Second down –
But are you just playing them straight up to do that?
No, whatever you can.
I believe the Rams can because they did it last year. I thought they did it last year, and they did an awesome job of playing straight up. There was a couple misfits, and that's where those touchdowns came. You can't have misfits. But the other thing I will say is when you're talking about Philadelphia, I just don't see the same cohesiveness, right? Mekhi Becton was a big piece that they lost. They lost some pieces there, right? And again, we saw the best of the Rams when the Rams got up by 2 touchdowns. So if the Rams can score like we were talking about, if they can go toe-to-toe and score, then you're putting them in a position, Philadelphia, them being Philadelphia, where they have to drop back and pass the ball.
Yeah, change the game script.
Right. And that is what you want.
See, with me, and I'm with you on the 22 carries, it's just I don't care what he gets from quarters 1 and 2, maybe into the third. He can't have any in the fourth.
Right.
He has to be taken away by score, and then you're getting after Jalen Hurts. If he's viable for 4 straight quarters, oh, goodness. That's like you back in the day.
Well, I think we talked about this, too, the way the Rams are built. They're not built with the Golf Heroes explosive offense and then kind of like defense just sit back and chill. Like this is more of a
the other way.
Yeah. No, it's not even that. I think they have to work together, right? You have to be like when you take a breath, right? Inhale, exhale. You have to work together. You can't just be loaded on defense and not good on no. If the offense does its part, like we saw in the second half of Tennessee, the defense shows up. The defense did its part in the first half by holding to field goals on the sudden. Like you have to play off each other.
Or the defense gets you the ball, put it in the box. Yes.
One other thought on the current structure of Philadelphia. And again, this feels like some of the same things we were saying at the beginning of last year before they got hot after their bye week. But they've been stagnant through the air and they've been predictable. And I worry about a 2-week sample size from a tendency standpoint when you're the third team to play them. Like when they're under center, when they're in the pistol, they hand it off. When they're in the shotgun, it's like a known passing situation. But when they have firmly established tendencies after 2 weeks, that means they have the opportunity to break those tendencies in week 3, and you're kind of the sucker that gets subject to that, right? So if we're seeing under center hard play action shot taking through the air, I'm worried. If we're seeing Saquon gun runs early, I'm worried's not too strong. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be the opponent that they break tendencies successfully against.
See, good coordinators, and you're making me go back through my career, my life. Good coordinators will tell you what's coming next based on what they see on film. They're trying to set you up for this, so be alert for that. So, I mean, if you're Chris Shula, if you're Aubrey Pleasant, you've been through this stuff before. You have an idea of what the next counterpunch is going to be. So you have to warn the guys. Now, the one thing is you haven't seen it yet. And it may hit you once. And that's when those halftime adjustments or sideline adjustments become very, very important. And they're very, very good at adjusting. We can all say that, right? Whenever anything happens or hits them, they're very good at adjusting.
The second half performances have been sensational.
That's what I mean. And I think this group understands what they have in front of them as far as personnel and what they're about to see. So just like with the pick that Stafford threw, we just talked about that in Tennessee, that pick that he threw.
Yeah.
Hell of a call, hell of a play. That dude took off from a tackle position and ran out to the flat right underneath 2-2, like he knew it was coming.
Right.
That's a coordinator. That was a coordinator beating McVay and Stafford on that. Same thing can happen here. When they do this, this is the basic counterpunch to what they're about to do. Be alert. So a good coordinator will help you with all that.
I'll tell you this too. Down and distance tells you everything, right? If your shot plays are taken on 1st and 10, 2nd and short to medium, and third and short, right? Those are your shot territories. So you have to know that. I don't know what the play is going to be, but I know the down and distance is going to tell me everything. You're not going to take a shot on 2nd and 10, right? You're going to try to get some yards so that you get a manageable 3rd down. Or possibly like that's your screen territory. So you just have to, and again, I know the Rams do an awesome job of understanding that. This is more for our fans as you're watching the game. Watch the tendencies on the down markers, right? 1st and 10, what are they doing? How are they setting this up? Is it gun run on 1st and 10? Because if it is gun run on 1st and 10, play action pass will come off of that with max protection and the shot. If it's pistol pass, understand they're setting you up for different things as the game goes on. It's all as a chess match. You're just trying to see what I want to know what you're going to play against this, and then I'm gathering information so down the road we can make adjustments.
That's why I don't hate the tush push. You know what's coming.
Yeah.
Well, let me come back to that in just a second. But I do empathize with the challenge for Chris Shula this week and his defensive staff when you're facing a quarterback in an offense that has not thrown a single pass between 10 and 20 air yards this season. Like, what do you do with that?
Well, I would say like whatever hurt you in the last 2 weeks, you're going to see.
Whatever hurt the Rams defense.
The fade ball's coming.
Yeah,
is
whatever
what you're telling
hurt.
me.
And
If you're
Tennessee
Emmanuel
didn't really
Forbes-
challenge you.
If you're Emmanuel Forbes and AJ Brown's out there, guess what they're going to throw?
You're going to test your vertical. Yes.
They're going to go vertical. That's what hurts you. Now with Darius Williams comes in and he's able to stop that, he's not going to get that, right?
But that would be such a break of tendency in terms of Hurts has only thrown, I think, 5 balls all season so far.
You have to remember, we're scouting them and they're scouting
Yes.
us, right?
Right.
So if I'm an offensive coordinator, what is giving you trouble? The kid from Stanford is catching the ball like David Tyree on his helmet, like skipping out of bounds. We're throwing the fade if we see press man.
Right.
That's where we've seen you struggle, right? And so we know you're going to load the box. Like you said, you're going to load the box to stop the run. Jalen Hurts, this is their opportunity to go and make some plays.
Want to flip to the other side? Any other thoughts on Eagles offense, Rams defense?
No, it's this Saquon show. You know what it is. That must suck when you're the focal point.
But they have to
11
protect their
dudes
offensive line too. That's why
The
they're
Rams
doing
do?
it. No, the Eagles. That's why they're running the ball so much. They're trying to protect the O-line because if you watched again, I know the Cowboys didn't get many sacks, but they were all around Hurts. You can get pressure.
Speaking of scouting and tendencies, when you win a Super Bowl, the whole league studies you all off season and tries to come up with the antidote to that. Do you think anything that we've seen in terms of Philadelphia's offensive struggles so far is just a credit to the league and the defensive coordinators from Dallas and Kansas City finding solutions to a league-wide problem? And can the Rams borrow from it?
Well, I think it's Philadelphia losing players, right? I believe you lost a lot of key pieces offensively and defensively, especially on your line. And then I think it also is teams building their roster to beat you, right? When you win, teams
inevitable.
build it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just how it is. That's why it was so shocking to see the Chiefs have like almost go 3 in a row because everyone's trying to beat them, right? But if we flip it to the other side, and if we're going to talk about the Rams offense versus Philly's defense, I think the two-headed monster is going to be really important.
running
right?
back.
The two-headed running back monster is going to be really important this week because we just can't let Jalen Carter just terrorize the pocket. You can't do that anymore.
Is it a two-headed monster after just seeing a couple of carries from Blake Corum in Tennessee? I know DeMarco says yes. Do you feel that way too?
I agree as well because now I'm confident.
It was undeniable based on that sample size.
I'm comfortable with him out there running the ball now.
Okay.
I got explosive
Looks
runs.
different, doesn't it?
It looks different, but I got explosive runs, right? And I got explosive runs when they were needed in that game. Like Kyron was doing an awesome job, but then when he came in, he became the spark. You kind of saw things like juice. And
was
so
the juice.
if I have two guys that I can trust to go, and we said this on air in the broadcast that now we're in trouble because now I have two fresh. In the fourth quarter, I have two guys fresh for 4 quarters of a game, and then in December. And so the key is for the Rams to lean on that running game a little bit more, and then allow your one-on-ones on the outside. Very similar to what we're saying with Philadelphia.
Only question is, do they trust Corum to clean up that pocket the way they do Kyron?
Well, we're gonna have to wait to see, right?
This is the Sunday to find
a year
out?
And 3
Well, they don't
games in,
blitz.
you better.
Philly doesn't blitz. They're gonna rush forward.
That's what's interesting about this challenge is schematically and personnel-wise, they're so different than Houston and Tennessee, and we can dig into the why behind that too. But just like Kansas City and Spags changed up a little bit from the February matchup, so too did Fangio and the Eagles. They got after Patrick Mahomes a little bit more than we're used to seeing. They sent extras at him.
They will. I mean, I think in that situation, that was just a different game plan. I think they did it because they lost a couple guys defensively. But if you really, I say in any critical moment, certain people run certain things, right? And that's what you're always going to be. You could have a game plan to do, hey, we're going to send corner blitzes, we're going to send linebacker blitzes. But let's get into a critical moment. Who are you, right? Wade Phillips was a zero blitz guy. He going to sit in the house, right? That's who he is. So I always play to who you are. Fangio's going to play cover 2 or cover 6. They're going to sit back and play coverage and let you rush. And so you may show me all this stuff, but I know come critical moments, right? Third and 5, whatever the moment is or the situation is, you're going to be who you are. Can't be anyone different. And that's why you can send all those pressures, do all that stuff. I know exactly what you're going to be in a critical moment, and that's what you want.
I wonder if part of it is out of necessity, though, because you talked about some lost personnel, like Sweat's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Sack numbers are misleading, but they've only got a couple through the first 2 weeks. So are they generating as much pressure with only 4 as they did a year ago? So far, not yet.
No, they're still a threat, though.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they're still good.
I will say this.
Yeah.
If you blitz the Rams, you're opening up holes and lanes that you do not want to get exposed.
I would say the Rams might even invite that challenge.
I played for Tom Cable and UCLA. I'm just sad I had to say UCLA because we're not in our best times right now, but we'll talk about that later. Same colors, but we're just different situation. He used to tell us in every offensive meeting, we want them to blitz.
Oh, yeah.
Because we know where the holes are. And we know where we're going to go. And that's what I see the Rams. When you blitz the Rams, Stafford knows exactly where he's going with the football. That throw to Devontae Adams,
beautiful.
he knew exactly where he was going with the football. He just wanted to keep the safety or who he thought was going to be in the middle from the middle because he was going to put it out there. They know exactly where they're going with the football. The receivers know what's going on. Everyone's doing what they're supposed to do. When you blitz a team like that, it can get pretty dangerous for you.
Like I said, it's week to week. So if they're watching the Tennessee tape, there was some blitzes that got to Stafford. There was a 1st and 10 that ended on 3rd and 19 and you punted. So there were some blitzes that got home. There's still some communication things that you're working out. It's the second week of the season going into the third, so they're not all there. Stafford just got back, really, so they're working themselves in. So there's going to be some pressures dialed up. Do they have to use them? Does he have to go to that? We'll see. We'll see how his front four is eating that day. If they're getting pressure, you don't need to use them. Save them for the next week. But if you start seeing them send pressure, like I said, that means you're doing good. That's great. You'll have a chance to pick it apart. Now, the problem is, and I'm with you, blitzing Matthew Stafford with Puka and with Devontae Adams is very, very dangerous if you don't get there. Tennessee got home a few times. So until you sew that up completely, every coordinator is going to have that same blitz or something else built off it coming for you the next week.
Well, you expect that corner safety blitz off the nub side, the tight end side. That's always. I mean, that a lot of teams are struggling with that right now. That's kind of the blitz of the year right now. But even then, I'll
real
say
quick,
this,
the nub side being
the tight end side, where the tight end is. Yeah. So if you have slot or 3 receivers away, wherever the tight end is, teams are coming off that because it's hard for the lineman to slide out and scan. I would say the biggest thing is the health of the offensive line for the Rams. Right, you talked about some pressure situations. Yeah, you have who was the D tackle we played last week? I'm already Simmons going against Dede. So yeah, there's going to be some pressure,
bro.
It's what it is. Like
yeah,
that's how it is. Like God made him a little bit different than he made everyone else, and he was getting pressured through double teams.
Yeah,
and so you're going to have to see another guy like that. So I think the health of the offensive line is going to be important. And then I also think the effectiveness or the efficiency of the running game is going to be important as well.
How good has Stafford been? Knowing that the back was less than 100%. His pass protection has been substandard by just about any objective measure, and there's been no traditional running game through 2 weeks to speak of. And he's setting the world afire.
The throw to Devontae last week with a guy on his back, on Devontae's back, and he's throwing it around a guy. It looked like he curved the ball to him.
Oh, yeah, he bent the arrow?
Yeah, it's like...
Now, that strike, beautiful. And you also have to give Devontae some props for bailing Stafford out, picking some off the ground.
No question.
I mean, some of those biggest shut up and sit down catches came from Devontae Adams. But their connection is starting to grow. And I love both of these receivers working both sides of the defense. Those safeties don't know whether to go blind or wind their watch, whatever that analogy is. But it's definitely serious. If you can blend in a running game or somebody to attack the spine of the defense consistently, oh, geez, then the sky's the limit. Especially, like you said, that's when you start panicking as a coordinator. We can't cover them all. Let's just start sending blitzes. Yeah. And then you'll die faster.
I had this conversation with my high schoolers this weekend. We were talking about being brutally honest, right? When you have, they're like, Coach, how was it in the NFL? We paid Devontae Adams to make those type of catches. Those are expected. I'm not shocked that you're making those because I've seen you make those multiple times before. Mm-hmm. I'm shocked when you drop those, right? Even though it's like a miraculous catch, and that's what I tell my kids. Like when you set a certain standard for yourself and you play a certain way, that's expected, right? And you do it consistently. Yeah. And so am I shocked by the way Stafford's playing? No. I've seen it before. Why would I be shocked? I've seen you do this. This is what my eyes and my brain tells me you're supposed to do. Devontae Adams. Am I shocked by that? No. Now the drops early in early in the season, very shocked. What do we, but that's what, when you create those type of standards, that's what you expect. And that's why the Rams paid him all that money to come here and be that guy. And he's showing that guy. The same with Nate Landman. I know we're going back, we talk about it all the time. We were on the bus on the way back. He's always been around the ball. It's not, I'm not surprised that the ball's on the ground and 53 is picking it up. For whatever reason, he could be way over on the other side of the field. The ball could just be, and it just goes to him. The ball just finds its way to him. And so when you have players like that, and they show up in those moments, it's not, I don't want to say we take it for granted, but it is expected.
How about a profile of this Eagles defense and the secondary specifically? It strikes me as being such a different challenge than Houston and Tennessee. Both of those teams had an elite corner, I would say, and they chose to travel with Devontae. I'm not sure Philadelphia does. I also don't know that Houston or Tennessee is a good proxy for Philadelphia because the strength of Philadelphia is their slot corner. I mean, he's become one of the best in the league. And so whereas getting Puka into the slot and matched up against some of those defenders was a winning formula for weeks 1 and 2, I think Fangio would say Puka against DeJean, let's go.
Yeah, I would wonder who's going to be the corner opposite of the first rounder they had a couple years ago.
Quinyon Mitchell?
Yeah, Quinyon Mitchell. Whoever that guy is.
Well, Adoree Jackson's been, to use your expression, the Where's Waldo of the first 2 weeks for Philadelphia.
That's right. And I'm listen, because I'm going to be gentle because I can't really say anything because my school's going through stuff. So I'm not going to say anything about the other school and their players. But I'm just saying, like, that's the guy that you want to go after. He's been the guy. And so if that's the case, how many times can we get Devontae Adams on him, Puka Nacua on him? And if I do have to put Puka in the slot against Cooper DeJean, I'm okay with that matchup because they're both bigger guys, right? I think he dominated the Cooper Kupp matchup because he was just stronger and more physical.
But last year in January, they tried to get Puka's alignment outside,
right?
And they got him targets out wide. I'm curious what that looks like in this construct, especially with 2 tight end looks, right?
Yes.
If you're playing more 12, how does Philly match? Do they match? Because there's a world where in 12, Adoree's not even on the field, right? And do you want that? Or, okay. So you expect a lot more 3 receiver sets.
My dog barks too. My dog bites too. Puka versus DeJean, let's see it. That's what I would say.
Sometimes you got to do good on good.
Let's see it. Let's match them. Let's go.
That felt like a finishing thought.
Let's go.
Are you playing us off here? Is that the music?
I don't think you can hide from the Eagles and vice versa. That's what I'm saying. I don't think you can out-scheme them. I don't think you could, hide from them, sneak up on them. They're defending champs for a reason. You're going to have to go through them.
So you're telling me it's like, hey, me and you at 3 o'clock and it's 2:55.
Bang.
So we just got to –
you
better start getting your mind right because it's coming. There's no reason like – it's kind of like boxing. When you fight the same guy 3 times, all the strategy's out the window. We just got to box.
Right there.
We just got to figure this thing out the old-fashioned way. And I think that's what if you're the Rams, you're saying, look, this is our third shot at this team, at this roster. How can we go out there? And I know it's a little bit different, but we got to go out there and just execute our game.
The boxing analogy made me realize that we overlooked one big thing, and that is the current state of the Tush Push, which is dominating headlines again this week because of the way the Eagles abused it in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Where are you with respect to that play in general and how it's not been officiated and what that means for Sunday?
You better answer this right.
Who, me?
You better.
You want to know how to stop it?
I still think.
Do you want to know how to?
You ask what the question that you want.
Maurice Jones-Drew, I know, will say what?
I don't think it's illegal. If you want to know how to stop it, I could tell you. You just have to jam the center back into the quarterback.
Oh, okay.
It's that simple. Like that's the only way to stop that. He's sitting there. Whoever's over the nose of the center, you have to get all your weight and run right into him and jam
Correct.
him back into Hurts, and that's how you stop
Okay,
it.
you're saying it right. Look, I don't want you to ban it until I stop it. There
you go.
Yeah, I don't want the league to have to save me from a freaking play. I'd rather have to stop it.
Won't you be
Yeah.
curious, though, because the spotlight of the league has been on it this week? I would expect Philly to just run it flawlessly, cleanly, right, to make sure that they're
Yeah.
buttoned up. But if a flag gets dropped on Sunday, just to make sure that a message is sent on behalf of the other 31 teams, I wouldn't be surprised either, and the Rams could be beneficiaries.
Or you could do what the Commanders did and just jump off sides every time.
Oh yeah.
We don't
That's
have
fun.
a then there's
On the goal line.
there's certain
That's a
things you
form of
can do.
surrender, though.
In the goal line, why not? Take a shot at it. But if
Okay,
you go
sure.
from a 4th and 1, which is a easy pickup for them, to a 4th and 6, when the
that's
game's on the line, that would send a message. Yeah.
Man, can't get here soon enough, huh?
Yes.
Excited
Here we go.
times.
Feels
I'm
like a
glad
September
you answered
Super
that the
Bowl.
right way.
What do you thought I was going to say?
You get cold when it's not cold. You're talking about it's hot and humid. What happened to you? Come on.
I'm being an analyst, Marco. I don't play football anymore. I stopped playing football a long time ago.
Let's shut this down so we can get to the unfiltered UCLA thoughts, okay? For
Let's go.
MJD and DeMarco Farr, I'm JB Long. Thanks for joining us for a Week 3 edition of Between the Horns, presented by your Southern California Toyota dealers.